My name is Eyckerman. I'm solutions consultant for TIBCO Software, a software company which is around for more than 20 years now, which was founded doing messaging, basically providing messaging in Wall Street. So we've been around for a while, and yeah, we're trying to keeping up, standing up as a leader as a software company. You can follow me on Twitter, and I will try to share this presentation as well afterwards. So I'm really excited to be in Stockholm. It's the second time I'm here. The first time I came with this boat, which has quite a reputation, but I can talk more about that later. Actually, I was doing an exchange program in Helsinki, at the Polytechnic in Helsinki, and the title of my final thesis was streaming video over Wi-Fi to an internet tablet of Nokia. So one of the first days, my mentor came to me and he gave me the preview of this device, the Nokia N770 internet tablet, and he told me, imagine that students don't have to attend their lessons, their courses anymore physically in the aula, but they can just go to the park and stream the video from there and follow. So I did my thesis about it, about compression algorithms, preferring video and so on. I graduated luckily, but okay, I spent most of my savings on trips like the one on the boat, and the Cisco IPTV server had been abandoned after that year, and everybody knows what happened to Nokia afterwards. So this time my journey was pretty different. I booked my flight on a travel agency app. I used the KLM app to check in. I could check my loyalties, my air miles on a smartwatch. Took an Uber to the Airbnb I booked for the first night, and because the weather wasn't great, I was watching a movie in the evening from my hotel room. These were the apps I actually used, but to get to the airport, I used Apple's map application, and if you look at the disclaimer, they use plenty of other APIs. So their first experience with providing their map service wasn't a real success. People ended up in the desert. So they started consuming APIs from TomTom to get their routing better. They use services like Booking.com to get information about hotels, Foursquare to get ratings about restaurants, and they even use their competitors' APIs, Google's Waze, to get accurate traffic information. So you see there are plenty of possibilities even outside the core of your own business. So we can actually speak about the fourth industrial revolution. We come from a long way where we had the first industrial revolution where steam and water made it possible to start manufacturing. It got at a faster speed with the coming of electricity in the 1800s, and then in the 1900s, in the 20th century, we all know there has been the third industrial revolution with the coming of semiconductors, first computing with IBM in the 80s, later also personal computing. And more we're all interconnecting using our mobile devices, using social services, and we get to a point where the lines between physical, digital, and biological things are merging, and there's such a big growth in all these three categories that Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of World Economic Forum, wrote a book about this. And about business, he says that the big fish are not longer eating the small fish, but today it's the fast fish which eat the slow fish. And that's why today you have a lot of disruptive, let's call them unicorn companies, are disrupting their markets in any vertical. And big companies need to learn how to set their digital transformation in place. And that's what I will be talking about. So these startups are the companies who are understanding how to become digital. They can focus on customer experience, they for them it's easier to innovate and to adapt quickly, and they can scale their business based on the demand and manage their costs. And that's especially one point where big companies are having a hard time to understand this. So it's really important to understand the importance of data and the possibilities about it. Because 90% of the conversations about data are about, okay, how are we going to secure our data? How do we take care of privacy? But governments are starting to understand how important it is to share data, to enable a new kind of business. So you can find on opendatabarometer.org a ranking of the countries with a digital agenda and how they're doing worldwide. And the purpose of this kind of initiatives is to enable governments, businesses, and entrepreneurs around the world to catalyze this revolution and to take the responsibility to do, to innovate and make this a success, this new kind of digital business. And then in the banking sector, you have the Payment Services Directive, which was started last year, December 2015, and which need to be in place and regulations by 2018. So banks are starting to look into this. I will do a demo related to this subject later this afternoon. And so when talking about the content of your data and how to secure it, you have three tiers. So the easiest way to work with data is with open data. There is a moderate value, and you have flow compliance regulations. And it's mainly the tier where you can extend your brand, so you can have a bigger reach by publishing public data. Then the second tier is where you're gonna change your business, your core business to from a business to customer business to business to customer operation, and that's where you can make money by just sharing your data. That's what you need APIs for, of course. And then you have the third tier, the private tier, which is the data with the highest value, but which has to comply with the most regulations. So here we're talking about. So here, like I said, so the public data you can use to extend your brand. Here you can monetize your brand. And the high compliance and the high value data is the data where your chief information security officer will get into the room and say that you need to be careful with the data you keep from your customers. So it's about personal information, social security numbers, birth dates. This is also the place where you leak important data of your customers. You will have the biggest damage if you don't treat this data correctly. So there is some security and some compliance you have to take into account, but you shouldn't forget how important data is to transform. Sure. Take your time. I think I'm going fast enough to get to the end in 20 minutes. So what Gartner says about digital transformation is that you have to change the way you organize your IT, and that you need to move to a bimodal way of doing business, where you keep your conventional way of doing IT, which is at the core of your business, but you need a kind of fast IT or shadow IT at the edge of your company to be more innovative and to open a competition with like these disruptive internet companies. So I will quickly go through some of the difference between those two modes. And the goal is not to build two islands who are not speaking to each other, but to have two modes which can interact to each other. And projects can move from edge and become part of the core of your organization, but also you need to expose data coming from the core of your business and expose this data to the outside world. So typically, at the core of your IT, you have the IT under the responsibility of your CIO. Edge IT is more led by digital officers, chief digital officers. So, and you talk about smaller projects which need to go to production in a short time. Then the next point is that stability is key in your core IT, whereas at Edge IT you need agility, and the only way to enforce this is by building RESTful APIs. The third point, typically your core IT is platform-centric, runs in your own data centers on-premise. You have a lot of legacy software you need to integrate, and it's typically SOA-centric, possibly with ESBs. And the Edge IT is more and more microservices-based, exposed by RESTful APIs, and it mostly runs out of core IT. What we see is that business doesn't want to wait for project to be implemented by their core IT, but they go out on the internet and they look what's available, and they'll put first something into production, and then after that they can get in problems and they will ask IT to solve their issue. So you better organize your organization in a way that you're ready for this Edge IT approach. So which are the factors for Edge IT to become a success? And I think, you heard a lot of these coming back when some startups are speaking to you. So you need to organize a place where your developers can experiment. And typically, these agile type of projects aren't the one where you invest a lot of money and do a lot of upfront documentation. You just want to get an IT into a prototype as soon as possible, and it can either succeed or it can fail. But when it fails quickly, you didn't spend that much money on it, so you can move on to the next ID. Typically, companies organize hackathons to get the IDs directly from the developers, and when you get an idea out of a hackathon, it's worthwhile looking further into it. Then the next point to make this a success is to use the right tools. So, okay, it might sound like you opened a pod for getting your developers in the Wild West again and do whatever they like, but you should provide them with the right tools. They should use to develop, to document, to test your solution, and to make it lightweight and low code. So the third point to make this Edge IT approach a success is to create a zone where it's easy to set up your project. So typically this will be platforms in the cloud. So Amazon, Azure, these are perfect things for it to make it your developers able to put into production their little projects before they become core of your IT. And then the last but not least, the most important points of this all is that you should build your product all based on APIs. So your project will typically start in the corner of your company with one purpose, but you should really make your APIs as products which are documented in a way so they can be reused. And for instance, they can be expanded. So how can we all do this with our solutions at TIBCO? A lot of people see us as as a company who has been around for a long time, so they don't really trust we have the right vision to do this new kind of IT. So indeed, we are having a huge customer base who use us for the core of their base, for integration, for messaging, also for business intelligence, process management, and handling of streams and events to do real-time um, eventing. But last year in 2015, we acquired a company who was positioned by Gartner in the Magic Quadrant, which is called Meshry. So we already had more than a year now to integrate that API management solution into our core set of products and to learn how to make cloud first applications. So that's how we actually enter and want to be a leader by being innovative ourselves. All our products are more and more going into containerized versions. So we want to offer all our products like in the way that the customer likes it. So we not only make cloud first based applications, we also move to a way that it can be consumed in an easy way. So you will find on the internet a community with trial products. We even started an open source IoT project called Flogo, which can be just downloaded from the internet and which has a 20 times lighter code base than a JavaScript or any other IoT solution you find in the market. So talking about this edge offering, I told you that we acquired Meshry as the API management platform. So we see the importance of managing, securing, and documenting your APIs, and also you want to know what happens and what gets consumed. So we offer monitoring, reporting of the usage of the APIs. But what we see is that more and more integrations happens outside the company with consumption of other SaaS offerings like mainly Salesforce, Marketo, other CRM systems. We see that we should use our experience in integration also at the edge of the company. And that's why we started TIBCO Cloud Integration, where you can already start to aggregate data, transform data, even outside your enterprise firewall, in the same way as we do it on-premise. So to go in more technical details, I invite you to come by our booth at the entrance, or to come to the demo I will do about this offering this afternoon. So when you get all your project set with your preferred solution, you have to get out and document what you're doing. People need to know which data you offer to start using it. And that's why one of the most important parts of your solution is the developer portal. And by using Meshry, you are part of the Meshry platform, where you can find a list of all the companies using Meshry, and you can easily register with the same Meshry account to explore the data per vertical, per company. So what I want to end with, I talked about disruptive unicorns before. A colleague of mine launched the concept of the narwhal. And in comparison to the unicorn, the narwhal is a mix between a whale and a unicorn, which really exists. So if you're a big company who has a core business and you start transforming to a digital company right now, you're still in time to survive the disruptive unicorns. And my colleague Rob will do a keynote tomorrow morning downstairs. So thanks. And I hope to see you later today.